Hi everybody, Sayre Nova again, and this week we have a very special Harley Davidson, a 1965 Panhead. Um, this pretty decent model. We've had it here just to kind of go through it. If I understand correctly, I was not the service manager on this one. It was a new purchase and just had some tweaking to do on it. So we've gone through it. I can get into those details later, but yeah, it's a 65 Panhead. The reason why it's called a Panhead, let's jump right into that, because you've heard, if you ever been around Harley people, you hear this knucklehead, panhead, shovelhead, stuff like that. And it's really simple. Like anything on a Harley, it's named funnily for what it looks like. So this is why it's called a Panhead, and that is the first fully enclosed rocker box. So your valves are under there, your push rod's coming up here, actuating your rockers and your valves, your springs. All of it is fully enclosed in one unit, and it's just one big pan that covers it, hence the term Panhead. Very simple, as much as Harley is. 65 was the last year of the Panhead. Then we switched into the Shovelhead right after that. And we've had a couple of shovel heads in here, including our Easy Rider bike, which was a shovel, our Easy Rider, painted by Easy Rider painter bike, was a shovel. These came out in 48, and they replaced the knucklehead, so called because there's a nice, cool, curved valve cover on those things. It's a little more updated, a little more advanced than the knucklehead. And I think if I understand correctly, and I'm not a Harley historian, but this, in comparison to the knucklehead, the panheads had the first use of Harley's hydraulic valve lifters, hydraulic tappets, which are still in use today by Harley, also used by a lot of engine companies that are using pushrod motors. But what that does is make valve adjustments unnecessary, and because they use the oil pressure to take up the slack in the valve train that develops when it runs. These heads being as big as this whole top end, the cylinder, the head, rocker box, etc., being as tall as they are, and a big honking piston in there, they get really hot when they run, and they actually expand quite a bit. So if you have a solid lifter in there, the cylinder actually grows taller than the push rod length itself, as you end up with loose valves as you're running, and then as you get cool, you tighten them up. So if you were to set them when they're hot, they'd be too tight when it's cold. These adjust automatically, self-adjust, and they're far quieter. Also, just deals with that problem. So, still in use by Harley today. Panhead is when they put it into production. They were a little iffy in the early years, but then by the time this came around, by 65 they were well developed. By the early 50s, I think they had it sorted out. It's a very iconic looking bike. I mean, this is what Harleys are still trying to look like to a large degree. This era. This is sort of peak Americana in the mid '60s, before the super stretch chopper craze really took over. It's just a solid highway machine. These were built in the post-war era, when you had people returning from World War II, a little bit bored maybe, and had a little extra money maybe. And we had the highway system built by Eisenhower in that time period. So people could just get on their bikes and get on the interstate and just cover tons of ground. And these were really popular to do that with. And not to say that the knuckleheads weren't, but these were sort of these combined with the interstate system was the beginning of what we call the cruising era, where people could just get on their bikes and just go cross country in a short period of time and cover serious ground. They're relatively reliable bikes. I mean, you know, Harley gets a lot of flack for good reason for a lot of what they don't do right. But the fact is they made pretty reliable engines. Other than the AMF era, they've made pretty reliable machines that do what they were designed to do for a very long time. Um, and these you can still get on one of these, and with a little bit of TLC, ride it for pretty good distance still. Treat it like any vintage bike, of course, but they don't have major failures where they're throwing pistons through the cylinders and stuff like that for no reason at all. This bike in particular came in with stuff that was pretty much normal for its age. The customer initially had some wiring complaints, and we decided to just go through and replace the whole wiring harness. Thankfully, there was OEM, several people out there making replicas of the OEM harness, which is beautiful cloth wrapped stuff, original factory colors, original factory fittings. So if you take it apart, it looks very original, which is cool. So we had to do that, and then we had some leaks to address. And one of the downsides of this bike, some of the early Harleys, is that to replace these Panhead rocker box gaskets, you have to take the whole head off to do it. So we decided, hey, you know what? Why don't we go through the whole top end and just regasket the whole top end? So we did that. New pushrod tube seals and new gaskets, front, top to bottom, and then we just sort of chased around some other stuff. It had some other electrical stuff. It actually had a leaking petcock, very interesting petcock. You saw me fiddling this when I got off the bike. This is the petcock. So when it's fully closed, you tighten it down. To open it, you just back it off till the threads are off, till it's unthreaded, but you leave it down, and that's open. And then when you want to hit reserve, when you do hit reserve, you pull it up, and that's your reserve. So kind of cool, very very simple. Again, we had to replace it. So another example of where the aftermarket is building cool stuff, old replica stuff, which is really nice to have on hand. So rather than trying to remachine the pieces of the other petcock, there's somebody out there making this beautiful replica. So we put that on there. And then other than that, it's sort of just run it and tune it a little bit, make sure everything is working all right, take it out for a few rides, and it's a fun bike to ride. So chime in if you have any thoughts about these things. A lot of people love these things. They're getting pretty valuable as time goes on. And if you have done any serious miles on them, share some stories with us. We love it. Please like and subscribe to the channel. And as usual, thanks for watching.